Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is Malescu and I am the owner of Malescu Law, a law firm based in Miami, Florida, specializing in business, corporate and US immigration. We can assist you with all your immigration needs regardless of where you are currently located or where you plan to go in the United States. Today we are going to speak about the Affidavit of Support Form I-864, help you understand this Affidavit of Support, who needs to file it, who doesn't need to file it, who must sign this Affidavit of Support, who can be a sponsor, and when do you need to file the Affidavit of Support. But before we get started, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the bell button or the subscribe button. So, if you are a US citizen looking to sponsor your spouse or your child or your brother or your sister, or you are a lawful permanent resident, otherwise a green card holder, and you are looking to sponsor your spouse or your child, then you will need to complete and sign an Affidavit of Support on Form I-864. Also, you will need to sign an Affidavit of Support in limited employment-based cases, and we will speak a little bit more about that later. By signing Form I-864, the Affidavit of Support, you are legally committing to financially support your sponsored relative in the United States if needed, such that they will not become a public charge and rely on government assistance in the United States. Who needs to file an Affidavit of Support on Form I-864? 1. All foreign nationals who are applying for an immigrant visa or adjusting status in the United States based on a family petition, meaning that their US citizen or green card holder relative sponsored them, must file the Affidavit of Support on Form I-864. Basically, as a condition to them becoming permanent residents of the United States, they must provide a completed and signed Affidavit of Support from their US citizen or green card holder sponsor. And 2, in limited circumstances, foreign nationals who are applying for immigrant visas or adjusting status in the United States based on an employment-based petition must also file the Affidavit of Support. And these foreign nationals must file the Affidavit of Support only if the petitioner on Form I-140 is their relative, or the foreign national owns 5% or more in the business entity that sponsored them, that petitioned for them on Form I-140. So only in these very limited cases, the foreign national who is applying for an immigrant visa or adjusting status in the United States based on an employment-based petition will need to provide an Affidavit of Support. In all the other employment-based cases, the foreign nationals do not need to provide an Affidavit of Support. Who is not required to file an Affidavit of Support on Form I-864? 1. The vast majority of individuals applying for immigrant visas or adjusting status in the United States based on employment-based petitions will not need to file the Affidavit of Support. Also, 2. Diversity visa applicants, so those individuals who have been selected in the visa lottery, in the green card lottery, they do not need to provide an Affidavit of Support. Also, those individuals, 3, those individuals who have been granted asylum or refugee status in the United States. 4, those individuals applying for non-immigrant visas do not need to provide an Affidavit of Support. And 5, there are other groups of individuals who do not need to provide an Affidavit of Support. If you have questions about whether you have to provide an affidavit of support, your situation is more specific, then you should contact an immigration attorney and find out if you really need to provide the affidavit of support. But there are other groups of people who are also not required to provide an affidavit of support. The general rule of thumb is that the family-based petitions will need to provide the affidavit of support primarily, and there are other groups who do not need to provide the affidavit of support. So if you find yourself in a situation where you are uncertain whether you have to provide it or not, then reach out to an immigration attorney like myself and find out if that is actually needed for you. When do you need to file the affidavit of support? 1. If you are applying for an immigrant visa abroad, then you will submit your affidavit of support when you apply for the immigrant visa. Meaning that you will submit the affidavit of support to National Visa Center with your application and instruction package. And 2, if you are not applying for an immigrant visa abroad and instead you are applying for adjustment of status, then you will file your affidavit of support together with your adjustment of status application on Form I-864. In other words, when you will file the adjustment of status application, together with that adjustment of status, you will also send a completed and signed Form I-864 affidavit of support. Now keep in mind, the affidavit of support does not need to be filed by your U.S. relative at the I-130 level, or in those very limited employment-based category at the I-140 level. So only when you are applying for the immigrant visa abroad part of the instruction package to the National Visa Center, or when you are filing for adjustment of status if you are in the United States and you will be filing for adjustment of status. Only in those cases or at those times you will be filing your affidavit of support if one is required in your case. Who can be a sponsor for the purposes of the affidavit of support? Well, the petitioner on Form I-130 automatically becomes a sponsor for the purposes of the affidavit of support, and if they do not meet the financial requirement, then they can bring in a co-sponsor to help out meet these financial requirements. But in general, in order to be a sponsor on the affidavit of support, you need to meet certain criteria. 1, you must be a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, otherwise a green card holder. 2, you must be at least 18 years old. 3, you must be domiciled in the United States or U.S. territories or possessions. Now, if you are temporarily living abroad, you may still be able to file an affidavit of support for your relative if you can convince the consular officer that you will re-establish domicile in the United States in case you don't actually have a residence in the United States anymore, but those cases are a lot more complicated. And 4, you meet the financial requirements. Now we are going to speak about the financial requirements in another video, but even if you don't meet the financial requirements, then you are able to bring in co-sponsors on Form I-864 affidavit of support to help you meet those financial requirements. This is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you need to get in touch with us, you have our contact information in this video and below this video. We will see you soon. Bye.